In December 1995, in the remote town of Cold Creek, Montana, a young woman vanished without a trace. Her name was Alice Carter. She was 28 years old, quiet, and kept to herself. The townspeople knew her, but no one was particularly close to her. The night she disappeared, a brutal snowstorm had swept through the town. But what made Alice's disappearance truly terrifying were the eerie clues she left behind. A mysterious phone line, whispering voices, and a woman who was never seen again. The night before she vanished, Alice was on the phone with her best friend Jenna. There was an unsettling tremor in her voice. "I got a weird phone call," she whispered. "Someone was breathing heavily, and then they spoke." Jenna frowned. "What did they say?" Alice swallowed hard. "Look out your window." A silence followed. Then Jenna chuckled nervously. "Someone's playing a prank on you, Alice." Alice wanted to believe that, but something felt wrong. "But I did look," she murmured, "and no one was there. Just a feeling, like I was being watched." That night, Alice discovered a strange voice recording on her phone. When she played it, she heard a shrill scream, followed by a hoarse whisper. "Don't hide. I see you." Alice's blood ran cold. Just then, a shadow passed by her window. The next morning, Alice left home to visit Jenna, but she never made it. Security footage showed her stepping outside at exactly 7:32 a.m., but it was freezing, minus 15 degrees, and Alice was wearing nothing but a thin sweater. It was as if she was in a trance, slowly walking into the thick fog until she disappeared. Her neighbors noticed her absence a day later. Her front door was slightly open. Inside, nothing seemed disturbed, except for her phone, which had dozens of missed calls, all from the same unknown number. When the police arrived, they found an old cassette tape on the kitchen table, still playing on its own. The most horrifying part? The voice on the tape. At first, just static, then a low, rumbling laugh, and finally Alice's voice. "They took me here. Oh my God, it's here. It..." The recording cut off abruptly, then another voice, low, inhuman. "She is with us now." After days of searching, police discovered an abandoned hunting cabin deep in the woods. The inside was chilling. Names were scratched into the walls, hundreds of them, all written in Alice's handwriting. But the most disturbing thing was an old telephone in the middle of the room. Its receiver dangled from its cord, as if Alice had been speaking to someone when she was taken. When police traced the phone line, they uncovered a shocking truth. The phone was not connected to anything. It had never worked. And yet, the moment one of the detectives picked up the receiver, a voice filled the cabin. "I'm still here, but I don't know where I am." It was Alice's voice. Alice Carter was never found. But after her disappearance, people in Cold Creek started receiving calls from an unknown number. Those who answered heard only heavy breathing, followed by the same chilling words. "Don't hide. I see you." Even more disturbing, everyone who received the call vanished within weeks. Investigators later discovered something terrifying. Beneath Alice's house, buried deep in the earth, lay the remains of an old phone line from the 1940s, and it was linked to another disappearance decades earlier. Alice was never alone. Others had suffered the same fate. 30 years have passed since Alice vanished, but people in Cold Creek still receive calls from that same unknown number. In the past decade, 6 more people have disappeared, and the last one to go missing? Just days before vanishing, they received a text message. It contained only 3 words. "It's your turn, Jenna." Yes. Alice's best friend Jenna had survived all these years. She had left town, changed her last name, and tried to forget. But she couldn't escape, because that night, at exactly 3:14 a.m., her phone rang. No number, no caller ID, just unknown caller. Jenna resisted the urge to answer, but somehow her fingers moved on their own. Silence, then ragged breathing, And finally, a voice she hadn't heard in 30 years. Jenna, you can't run. They let me go. Now they want you. Jenna screamed and threw the phone, but it kept ringing. The echoes of laughter filled her house. The curtains flew open on their own. Outside in the dark, something was waiting, something with no eyes, but it was watching. 1 week later, Jenna's house was found abandoned. The front door was ajar. There was no blood, no sign of struggle. But Jenna was gone, just like Alice. Alice Carter's disappearance was only the beginning. When researchers investigated Cold Creek's past, they uncovered a horrifying pattern. The first recorded disappearance in the area dated back to 1895. Since then, every 30 years, someone received the call, and then they vanished. Now it's 2025. The clock strikes 3:14 a.m. Your phone is ringing. Will you answer?